happens? What happens when you can't get a word in edgewise with someone in a discussion, or they talk over you and they don't allow you to speak? You feel very, very disrespected when their programs are so deep and your words are even turned against you. How do you deal with that? And I was watching the Housewives of Beverly Hills with my daughter. It's one of the things that we watch together when I come to her home. It's just something that we do together, and I love watching the self-talk. It's fascinating to me. Us as humans is fascinating to me, and the pressure that watching pressure like that build up, and all the blaming, all the drama triangle. We might talk a little bit about the drama triangle tonight. I'm going to write that down on my notes here. We might get into that if I have time. But what do you do when something like that happens? And my suggestion, this is not even, let's move from my suggestion, because I don't want to suggest something right now. Let me just explain what we watched today. So if you watch The Housewives, any of them, but you watched on Andy Cohen, and it was Erica, Kyle, and Dorit. And Dorit was incredibly angry with almost every single one of them, when they would start to speak, she would just speak right over them and keep talking, and it just got so heated that I actually was so stressed. I was like, I don't know why we're watching this, because I started to feel the stress, and which was interesting, because this is a very good opportunity to share that who you spend the most time with and their self-talk and how they carry themselves and who they choose to be is all really, really importante. We have mirror neurons, and mine were firing. and so the people that you choose to be around the most, that's who you are being more like. They're programming you, you're programming them. And so this is what happens with children as well. So when you choose to be around or watch these things on television and all of this, you literally you're feeling the emotions. And Cass is Feather, so Feather's running around. Anyway, when that happens, because this has happened to me, it probably has happened to you. Any human is going to have an experience where they were talked over or not respected, but in a confrontational or in an active way, where you are in a moment. And so how do you deal with that? And I would suggest that this be your self-talk. And I wrote it out because I was thinking how I would feel in the moment, because I have been in many of those moments, just being a human in different careers, and especially in mostly man's world, in law enforcement and other things that I've done, and it's like, how do you deal with that? And I'm just going to give you the self-talk phrase, because I'm not going to tell you. Actually, before I give the self-talk phrase, I'm going to give you the microstabilities, because how to deal with it. I wasn't going to tell you like this. What I teach is how to slow down to stabilize from a destabilized nervous system, because this is what happens. We get destabilized, and then we get emotional, and then the adrenaline and the cortisol starts flowing through us, and it's happening with the other person as well, and it can just escalate. And some people shut down, some people get verbose, and it's what I saw today. I saw a combination of a lot of different programs that are running, because these are programs that are running, and when we move the into the blaming, and we go into the drama triangle. And the drama triangle, if you don't know about that model, is there's a victim and the victim, the persecutor, and the rescuer. And you could see that play out a lot. You can see that on Housewives. You see that play out a lot, where one will say something angry at another one, and then somebody will back them up. That's a rescuer, and then the persecutor. It's usually the person that's saying something to the other person. They're the persecutor to someone, and that person may feel like a victim. And I just saw that playing out just in the whole thing. I saw not every single person, but I saw that whole model just repeat, and shift. And with one star in between, one starring role almost always the victim, and just lashing out, not only not even having a victim mentality, but also the persecutor. And so I'm not explaining that really well, and that was not my point. And so I'll come back and explain that on another one if you don't already know what that is. If you're interested in that, let me know in the comments. Because really what I want to get to is you find yourself in that moment. These are the things, like this is when you have a destabilized nervous system, or it's starting to spiral. So let's talk about my model. And my model is the stability spiral. And there's a spiral that spirals down, and that's the programmed reactor. And there's the program that spirals up, and that is the internal operator. So the internal operator is the one that takes control of their nervous system. They literally will stop their programs stop that spiral, so that the adrenaline and the cortisol don't just start spiraling out of control to where they lose the control, because then they're in this sympathetic mode or in survival mode, and they're just doing everything they can to survive in that moment. So this is where the vagal breathing is really, really important, because when you slow down the breath, when you're focused on your breath, and so that is the 4 in and 6 out. So it doesn't have to be 4 and 6. The 4 is like, think about a breath going, when something happens, that is the sympathetic breath in. The parasympathetic, that's the survival. Parasympathetic is out, like, I'm okay. Rest and digest, heal, all of that. So 4 in and the 4 counts in and 6 out. So that's really going to help in those moments if you can get 3 breaths in when you're in that, because that helps you to retain stop the chemicals from flooding into your body, and to stabilize your nervous system, because that's when that goes out, that's when you're in survival mode. That's when the tiger's coming to eat you and you're running. And so all of you, the other rest of your brain, your amygdala is the part of your brain that's like in survival, and you're using your subconscious programs, the majority of them, and those are typically negative, harmful. They stop you, they slow you down, they sabotage you, like all these things. But they're the ones that are the programs that are not going to benefit you in the moment. And we know, like in the heat of the moment, count to 10 and all of that. I mean, even counting to 10 could be a good microstability, because we're talking about microstabilities here in this moment. So that breath, maybe counting to 10, the jaw, that's such a huge one, because you'll be like, and it's just like, relax the jaw, and lower those shoulders, because you're going to be like this when we're in those moments. When you're in those moments, because when you get tense, if you are aware, it's like, and how many people say, I carry my stress in my shoulders? Well, yeah, it's like, because the core, it's protecting the core. and so it's like we're going, you see like hunching and things of that nature. It's because when we're in survival, you want to protect the core, and so the shoulders will go up, and like all kinds of things will happen. So the biggest thing when you do that is choose to end that discussion. Choose to end the discussion if you are in that state, if you find yourself moving into that state, because you know that nothing is going to be accomplished. Now, on that panel, I don't think that I guess I've seen people walk off before, but that's really not a place where when they're being attacked or feeling that they're being attacked, because it's really how you perceive things. To just walk off of that panel and walk off stage is not the way that they do things for the most part. And so those are some of the things that would really help in the moment. And so I'm going to give you a self-talk phrase. Now, this is not, and I'm going to give you another one that I've touched on before, but this one's longer, and this is something that is to be repeated. And always in the description, I always have the self-talk app that is, it is not mine, it is my mentor, and you get 30 days free. And I'm telling you with my entire heart that this will help you to rewire your brain and help you for those moments. It will help you to stabilize your nervous system by understanding who and what you really are, and it will help you to come from a default of coming from a higher consciousness, if you will, or higher position, but a default. And so those kinds of things maybe don't happen as often in your life. So here's the self-talk phrase. And I just wrote this out. So I know who I am. I stay stabilized in my truth. I believe in the best possible outcome in any situation. I don't have to engage. I choose stability, and I choose to believe in me. This is a self-talk phrase that you could repeat, which is neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire, and you're trying to rewire your brain with the programs that you want, which is that self-talk app that is the 30 days free that I suggest highly, and use it every day myself. I use self-talk every single day. So, well, I may not listen to that every day, which is, for the most part, I do. I can count on probably two hands the times that I haven't listened. But my point is, because I want to rewire my brain with programs, so I have default programs that are uplifting me and supporting me, and having my brain support for default for programs that I choose. So we're still going to have things that, like the dog's barking right now in the middle of my video. So that could be like, I could literally go crazy with that and be upset, and I could choose to take it in many ways, but I don't. It's just like, okay, they're barking, they'll stop at some point, and and we'll figure it out, and maybe you don't even hear them. So, but the nervous system is going to be triggered. It's there to help us it does many things. I mean, it does a lot of good things, as well as things that can put us in a position that we would choose not to be in, and in a destabilized rather than a stabilized, coming from a stabilized position. So this, to stabilize your nervous system, is so importante, because when you come from that, my model that I've shared with you, and you can download that PDF for free, that stops. What you want to do is disrupt the programs from running. You want to disrupt the adrenaline and cortisol from flowing through your body and getting you primed for being in this heated moment where you can actually choose to not engage and allow it to become your heated moment. So that's what I really come on here in the stability moments. That's what it's all about, because it's not about solving the problem. It's about you choosing to become the internal operator that spirals up. So the awareness, you take that pause, you pause. It's like, I know I'm spiraling. I know this is not a good situation. And you pause and you're aware. And that pause that's your power. That for just that pause, that helps your brain to just stop because you're so aware. And it stops it from just doing the programmed reactor spiraling down. It stops it from going into the subconscious programming and any programs that are for survival only. And I mean, in the heat of the moment, these are where people say things that they wish they could take back. They wish they never said. They wish they never did. Those are the kinds of things in the heat of the moment that's where they come from. They come from the program reactor state. So the programmed reactor and the internal operator, these are just states. They're not people, but you can choose to take on that state and become the internal operator and stop the spiral down for the programmed reactor and choose to spiral up. So here's the other, and I shared this I think, I don't know how many days ago, but when my daughter told me, I don't know if I shared it on this, but anyway, Lynette, one day we were just we were pretty upset with each other, and it was before, it was many years ago, and she said, and I was pretty upset with her, and she said, "Mommy, your stress is not my stress." And I don't know if I shared this with you here on here. I shared it recently, and it just, I did. I shared it like 3 nights ago, and it just stopped me in my tracks. And at one, I got a little pissy because like, she's talking back to me, a grown woman, by the way, and but there was also like, she's right. Like, this is not my issue, is not her issue. And as I was watching this, and talking to Lynette afterwards, because we laugh about that now, but it's so true. It's my drama. Your drama is not my drama. I don't know that in the heat of the moment, that's something that you would want to say to someone, depending on the situation. But in your mind, like as a self-talk mantra to empower you and to not come from a disempowered position, just in your head to be looking at that person, one, seeing them, that these are programs running, and they are definitely, maybe they're in survival, maybe they're just in the drama triangle and they're the victim. They're also the persecutor, yelling at you or telling you how awful you are or whatever it is. And to just in your mind to come from an empowering position to say, in your own head, your drama is not my drama. Like that right there would be a disruptor. That right there, because you would be aware, and that I don't have to engage. I choose to not engage. And it doesn't have to be mean or said out loud, or it could be, we can discuss this later at a different time when we're both, however you want to say it, when we're both of, coming from a better place, when we can listen to one another, when we're not so upset, any of those kinds of things. And I share that because this world could be such a more enjoyable place, and not so that confrontation. So many people do not like confrontation. I don't like confrontation. That is not our natural state, by the way. We are spiritual beings. We are light beings, and yes, we are on planet Earth having in the human experience. We are both. We are both at the same time, and that conflict is not our natural state. It does not feel good. And when it does feel good to someone, you can probably have a good bet that that person is coming from a place of superiority, or they're right, you're wrong, and they're going to beat you down if they can. and it doesn't feel good, none of that. So I'm being a little, not just careful how I say this. It's not so much careful. It's more that it's not about judgment. When you can see people and see that they're running programs, no matter what it is, they're running programs. I'm speaking to you from my programs. You are listening to me from your programs. And so you are taking in from the lens and the filter of your programs, just as I'm speaking from mine. I have chosen many of my programs and have been rewiring my brain for many years, and it has brought me immense peace. Even when Steve passed, my husband of 35 years, even when he passed, now 17 months ago, there was something in me that said, I'm going to live life to the fullest. And I'm still lifing just as you are. It's not about, there's little bugs that are flying around, and so I don't want to hurt them, but also don't want them flying in my face. So, but that whole still experiencing life, but being who and what we really are, and coming from a place with a stabilized nervous system. And the more that we rewire our brains with the programs that we choose, the more we default to our natural. Come on, Happy Beans. I'm going to pick up Happy Beans here. Oh, she doesn't normally come, but here's Happy Beans. You heard feather. So we're on my microphone. So the more that we can have the default programs of what we can do and what can be done versus what can't be done or what we can't do, the more that we are defaulting to those are empowering programs. We are born with unlimited promise and potential. I tell you that all the time. You were born with unlimited promise and potential, and then you got programmed. I got programmed. We all got programmed. That's how it works. From our parents, from our peers, from 0 to 7, and then from 7 to 14, we started doing it ourselves. From 0 to 7, it's others, and then 7 to 14, basically around those ages. So, and then we start becoming our own master programmer, repeating those things to ourselves, but they're programs. And if you were born in the Middle East, and I mean, if you're an American here, or if you're an American, and you have a twin, and the twin is taken at birth, and they're to the Middle East, and you guys didn't meet and say till you were, say, 50, do you think that you'll be the same, have the same values, the same views? Do you think that 50-year-old person that even born in America but is basically has Middle Eastern cultures, the culture of the Middle Eastern views and values, they're going to be very different. You'll be very different. You might look alike. You might have some of the same, traits and characteristics and things, based on the 30% of, call it epigenetics, of the DNA, but it's mostly environment. And so the environment is also your self-talk, what you say when you talk to yourself, your programs. So it's getting really dark out here. I don't even know if you can, hopefully you can still see well enough. I just wanted to share that with you today because for today's stability moment, that is when you take control of your nervous system, no matter what's happening, first of all, no, it's not your natural state to be in conflict, which is why the majority of us don't care for conflict. It doesn't feel good, and it puts us into a sympathetic or into a survival state. And that's when the cortisol and adrenaline and histamine and like all kinds of things are happening in our bodies for survival. And we're working from just a very small part of our brain. And other parts are just shut down so we can survive. And those are the good parts of the brain where we can actually, the model that I share with you that you can download is the stability spiral, and you can literally see that you can interrupt the spiral with that pause, and then that creates capacity so that you can have clarity. It gives you a little more capacity. So you're not in that survival, you're slowing down your breath, you're coming back to the stabilized nervous system. So, and coming from a stabilized nervous system versus destabilized, the destabilized is where someone says something they don't wish they wouldn't have said or done or thought or any of those things. Thinking at least it's in your own, but it's still not a good thought. And plus, thoughts are things. Like literally, you can measure thoughts, measure the energy. Magnetic is the heart. So the heart, the brain is going out and creates a field, and the heart as well. The heart actually has a much bigger field than the brain, but the way that the brain has you can literally, it goes out, and then the heart magnetizes and things come to you. And so you want to choose your words carefully, your thoughts carefully, and come from a stabilized nervous system. And rewiring the brain with the programs that you choose is incredibly helpful in doing that, because then those are your default programs rather than the programs of lack and scarcity, rather than coming from what can't be done. And what you can listen to somebody, their self-talk, by knowing you did this or you did that to me or whatever it is. No one can ever do anything to you, and I'm not talking about somebody hitting you or doing something. They can that a physical thing, but no one can ever make you feel any way. You choose, it's through your filters, through your programs, that you feel however you feel. Because if you didn't care about someone, if someone said you're an idiot and you didn't know who they were, or it would have absolutely no impact. And you could, maybe it might bug you, like, well, you're an idiot or something, but you're just gonna, like, who's that guy or something, you know what I mean? It's not meaningful. But if somebody that you love says you're such an idiot, you really screwed up, or any of that, like, that's now there's meaning there. Now that has affected you. Now that really upsets you, or however, but now there's emotions. The same thing is said, just different, coming from different, call it people, or from something different, and how it's taken. So you can see that no one makes you feel anything. You feel through your programs and through your lens and how you see it. It's how you choose to feel. and it's through your programs. So anyway, really quickly, because now it's really getting dark, I'm just going to show. In fact, you can hardly see anything anymore. Oh my gosh, this has really gone long. I'm going to just end it here. I'm going to say the self-talk phrase real quick if I can even read it. I know who I am. I stay stabilized in my truth. I believe in the best possible outcome in any situation. I don't have to engage. I choose stability, and I choose to believe in me. So anything like that. And also maybe, and you can choose if you're going to say it out loud, but your drama is not my drama. Your stress is not my stress. And that is so empowering. Not to say it to someone. You could say it, like my daughter said it to me. Your stress is not my stress. You're right. It's not. It really pissed me off. I got really upset. But I also was like, that she's right. So, and I don't even remember that, exactly what it was about, but it impacted me to where I just don't ever forget that, because it was so, it doesn't matter who was right about any of that, about where, when we were having that conversation, because that wasn't the point. It really was, whatever I was upset about, that wasn't on her, that was on me. Even if it was in my mind, it was about her. And so she's a grown woman. She gets to make her own choices. So that's the story. I hope this has been helpful. I know it maybe went a little deep, but I really hope that this, when I share, I just share from my heart, because we don't have to be in conflict. We don't have to spiral down. We literally can spiral up and live a very peaceful life. And I love my life, absolutely love my life. And I feel very mucho at peace the majority of the time. It's not like I'm not lifing and things don't happen, but how I see them, how I relate to them, how I, rather than reacting, how I choose to look at them is, it's just such a different way of living. And it's a very empowered way of living versus disempowered. And I lived disempowered for most of my life. So anyway, you don't have to be me. You'll never be me, but you know what I'm saying. So I hope you enjoyed this. I love you so very, very much. Please share this if this resonated with you, with anyone who might be able to use the information, and the PDF to download that and get the 30 days free, and also my course, 6 Weeks to Stability and Empowerment. I cannot recommend that enough. I wrote that after my husband passed, and I was trying to figure out how do I stabilize? How do I find stability when I feel so destabilized in every moment? So that I had to research and understand. This is why I added the nervous system into rather than just sharing how to rewire your brain. Then if you don't have a stabilized nervous system, then you're coming from survival, and many people today, with everything that's happening in the world, there's a lot of low-grade stress happening, and that low-grade stress puts us in low-grade survival. And so the decisions and the things that we're doing, we've got a lot of cortisol and adrenaline flowing through our bodies a lot of the time, creating inflammation, creating all kinds of things, eventually creating dis-ease when we don't stop it. And so there's another reason why you might choose to stabilize your nervous system, rewire your brain, and come from a stabilized nervous system, and from programs that tell you what you can do and what can be done to help you to remind yourself that you were born with unlimited promise and potential, and then you got programmed, and you can rewire those programs so that you still have that unlimited potential. and can make have an amazing life. So I love you so very, very much. You can do, be, change, have, create, become absolutely anything. I believe in you. You can do this. This is day 55 of Stability Moments. We'll see you tomorrow for day 56 of 365. And as always, shining my light to brighten yours. We need some light because it's really dark. See you later. Ciao.